Financial future first. Tune in every Monday from 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. for this insightful wealth management program, because informed decisions lead to lasting wealth. Only on Classic FM 97.3.
A very good evening to you. Welcome to today's edition of Wealth Management and You. On the show today, we're going to be examining something that you will find very useful, something that you want to avoid, something that you want to understand why it continues to happen. More on that in a little bit. Before we get into it though, let me just share some information from Skrella Technologies. Now, Skrella offers you insurance for your mobile phones and other small electronic devices that are very, very easily damaged. It's not something that's too common in our part of the world, and that's why Skrella is offering that service. You can get your devices insured and be better safe than sorry. Now, policies are on offer from Skrella. They're not transferable, but you can buy vouchers and transfer these vouchers to your loved ones. There's also the one account multiple device cover that you can get. That means you have your one account that you're in control of, but it covers multiple devices. You might have children or other dependents you want to hand mobile phones or other devices to, or that they use for business. If you're an SME or MSME, you might find that useful as well, because these things are very, very easily damaged. You can avail yourself of the prepaid premium vouchers. These are available as well. Now, any device damage that happens, the repairs are carried out by visiting the nearest repair vendor. And there's a list of them that are pre-registered repair vendors that are available across Nigeria. So whatever city it is you're in or state that you're in, there is certainly a pre-registered repair vendor that you can avail yourself of. To get more information about this, just log on to the website www.skrella.com. And Skrella is spelled SCRELLA. So it's www.skrella.com. You can also send an email to askskrella.com or phone the numbers 0916 000 7790 and 0916 000 7791. Did you get all that? You didn't? Okay, listen to this then.
Mostly phone repairs stressing you out.
Cracked screens, water damage, the worries endless. Introducing Skrella, Nigeria's smart choice for mobile phone insurance. With Skrella, you get instant protection through screen sensitivity testing as well as IMEI verification.
Plans start as low as 5,500 naira for a full year. One account, multiple devices.
No paperwork needed, with Skrella having partners across Nigeria, so location isn't a barrier, and repairs can be done within an hour nationwide. Whether it's screen damage or back glass replacement, Skrella has got you covered. Protect your phone and your peace of mind. Visit www.skrella.com or call the numbers 091 6000 7790 or 091 6000 7791. Terms and conditions apply. Skrella, preserving perfection.
It's still Wealth Management and You here on Classic FM 97.3. Let's say welcome to our regular expert and co-anchor on the show, Raphael Emenion. Raphael, how are you doing today?
Good, Chico. How you doing yourself?
I'm doing okay. You really should have a bit of an extra skip in your step. Started the season well.
Yeah.
Oh, you forgot?
No.
I thought I wouldn't mention it.
I remembered everything.
It's been humble.
Our topic on the show today is "This is why you are broke." Okay? There are certain reasons why you just never quite seem to be able to crack it. You know, we'll be examining those on the show today with Raphael. But we like to start at the very beginning. You know, what does it mean, Raphael, to be broke?
I think that's a good way to start the conversation today, and we can look at this, in different ways, right? So the first definition is you have a high income and you have a low net worth. So net worth is your assets minus liabilities, right? The difference is your net worth. So you're earning well, but your net worth is very low. That's a sign that you're broke, right?
Yes.
The second definition is, and the definition really, in summary of all that we're going to look at, is really in between lifestyle and financial freedom.
Okay.
It's really between the two, right? So the second definition is when you lack financial freedom, right? You're always dependent on your paycheck every month.
Yeah.
That's the only way out. You're living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You do nothing else. If paycheck doesn't come, you're in trouble. And the question you then need to ask yourself is, if you lose this job, are you able to survive the next 3 months, the next 6 months? So that shows there's no financial freedom.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell you to do in the office, you have to do it. Because that's
And all this is irrespective of age.
Yes, it is. It is. It is. So lacking financial freedom, where you live paycheck to paycheck, and all you're looking for is then the next promotion, and then you continue again with that sort of lifestyle. It's a sign that you're broke. The third one is...
You do know this is a reality for a lot of Nigerians.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we're also going to get to, I'm sure we're going to get to, maybe along the conversation, we're also going to look at how we can, reposition ourselves.
Mitigate it.
Shift in mindset.
Okay.
The third one is when your liabilities are greater than your assets. Asset is the worth of your balance sheet. But when your liabilities, especially debts, are greater than your assets, it's a sign that you're broke. You can't do anything because all you're doing is to pay back debts.
Yes.
The fourth definition that we look at again is if you're something that is called asset poor. So when you look at everything that you have over the years, you can't boast of a retirement fund, you can't boast of a real estate income, you can't boast of investments, you can't boast of businesses.
If you're given to boasting.
Exactly. You can't.
Some people have all those things, but they don't boast.
Yes, I mean, what I'm saying is, even if
don't mind me. I can't help myself. Carry on.
And then the final one,
Yes.
If you cannot meet your future goals. So there's something that in wealth management you can also call future broke. So right now you look like you're living the life, but the future is clear that you're broke.
Yes.
So in that sense as well, you can't talk about retirement. You don't have anything planned for retirement. You have children, you don't have education plan for them. You have inadequate insurance policies, around your, you have inadequate insurance policies.
Yes.
You don't have an estate plan, and then to cap it all, you don't have an investment strategy. So looking at the future, you don't have any of these things. But today you look good, everything looks sharp, but you don't have any of those things in place. That we can define as being future broke.
Wow. All right. Now, if you're listening, did you find yourself in there somewhere? Does the cap fit you?
In any of the buckets.
All right. I am sure that the answer is yes. So let's look at the reasons.
And we can make this as practical.
Easily.
Easily
One could say, one could say, as a layperson, one could say that the reason is simply that, well, it's difficult to make any sort of savings or anything for any kind of investment or any of these things that you said, to start to even affect any of these indices that you went through. Even if one is earning, let's go to the bottom and take someone who's earning the minimum wage, for instance. that person is earning 70,000 naira a month. 70,000 naira a month. There are loads of people who are also broke by how you have explained it,
Yeah.
but who will drive into the petrol station and fill the tank of their saloon car with 70,000 naira.
Yeah.
Okay? So essentially, that guy on minimum wage doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell.
It does.
Do they?
It does.
Okay.
Remember, I think there was a conversation you and I had many years ago, and it was a life example, that I gave you. But before I get to that life example, let me also say that in the 70s, if my maths serves me right, that's about 50 years ago. Now, recently, you and I still spoke about what it was 50 years ago in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, Nigeria 50 years ago and Nigeria 30 years ago was better than 30 years ago. Nigeria 30 years ago was better than Nigeria 10 years ago. Yeah, somehow. And then Nigeria 10 years ago, we would say was better than today because of the policies. Or would we say today is better than Nigeria 10 years ago? Remember that we're not producing anything, we're all dependent on dollars.
Well,
So if you look at
speaking about it generally, in 1974, I remember my parents saying that in 1974, 1 naira would buy you £2.
Yeah. So we had that conversation 2 weeks ago. Yes. So that's what I'm saying. That my point is that, if you look at the trend, what has kept a lot of people going is that once those challenges come on, they have to double their hustle. So this fellow that you're talking about on the 70,000 naira minimum wage would have to double his hustle. You can't just sit on 70,000 naira minimum wage. You have to look at other things that your skills can fetch you and begin to look for ways that you can do those things, right? And that's really OAPs, MCs, the arts. I'm not talking about someone that I know, but again, these are things that people have to do, to double the hustle. So, and that takes me to one of the reasons, that you had asked for. Salary trap is one of the reasons.
Yes.
Because people that live from paycheck to paycheck, all they see is their salary, nothing outside it.
Yes.
They're even unable to, it's not that it's not possible for them to set aside 10% of it. I mean, you have people that are Christians today and they pay tithe, and they're faithful to paying tithe every end of the month. So if you pay tithe of 10%, and you're sure that you would survive, if you pay yourself 10% as well, and live on 80%, definitely you will survive. And that's why I said earlier that it's a shift in mindsets, but I think we'll also get to that as the conversation leads us. So salary trap is one of the ways, or one of the reasons, why people are broke. Because they just see themselves in that space, and there's no financial freedom.
Yes.
No financial freedom whatsoever. The other one is lifestyle inflation. People not being able to identify the difference between income and wealth. So they're in that lifestyle inflation. They just want to, as income increases, their spending increases.
Yeah.
You're staying in Lekki, income has increased. There's nothing wrong with where you're staying in Lekki.
The lagoon.
To Queen, you're driving a nice Toyota car or a Honda car.
That serves you well.
No issues whatsoever, other than maybe you want to change your tires and service it. But income has increased.
Why not?
You switch to a Benz. Exactly. So lifestyle inflation is also one of the reasons. Everything you have is trendy, latest cars and all of those things. But at the end of the day, you're not taking advantage of that income, that has increased. And people need to bear in mind that, income, the challenge is really the gap between income and expenses. if you're not able to widen that gap between income and expenses, it then becomes a problem to identify the surplus, that you find in there. Now, the other reason is you want to look rich, and it's completely different from being wealthy. You want to drive the latest cars, you want to wear the latest designers, you want to you want to visit the latest restaurants, that's where you want to eat out with friends. So you want to appear that, you have arrived.
Ostentatious lifestyle.
Exactly, and there's nothing, to fall back on, right? You just want to show that, you just want to, give that appearance, wherever you go to and all that. That's also another reason, right? Impulse buying, this might be something that we also see regularly. Impulse buying, just walk into a store, you saw something that you don't really need, and then the next thing, you want to pick it up because you just like the way it looks, or it's staring at you, and you just want to pay for it and just pick it up. So those are a few reasons, that we can look at. So, and I'm sure you have ideas as well.
I have one major one. No, look. I was studying some of the things that citizens in Sweden are entitled to from the government, from their country. I was also looking at Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and then I could come to countries that are struggling a little bit, something like the UK around the corner here. If you are a policeman, just join the police. I think there's certain tenure after being a commissioned police officer. I think it's a year or whatever. You're basically guaranteed to own your own home, for instance.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
These are countries who have taken their citizens' welfare very, very seriously and have put certain structures in place to ensure that the very basics of life are available to their citizens.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
so those kind of people, the indices that you would look at, or if you applied this to them, what you'd get would be very different, I think, because there are some basics. Having a roof over your head it's not a luxury.
No, it shouldn't be.
Now, we are in a place where you can't tell me that the rents you hear for even the most basic housing in this country, this state, are realistic. They're driven by my, tell you, the cost for property where if you open your window, your neighbor can see into your bedroom. You are living in an estate that doesn't have pavement for pedestrians to walk in. There are no trees. The place floods. Power is bad. The environment is dirty. Yes, these prices are going this way. So I think that there's no running away from it. Government policy has a direct impact on people, because we're in a situation where even the basics, you can't have them, So yes, I agree. Some kind of mental shift is required, because you find yourself in this hostile environment, and you've still got to make the best of it. Otherwise, you just go out like a number and be a statistic. And you don't want that. So what you say still applies, but I am offering this as another reason why you're broke.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But again, you have to have a strategy around it. I know people that, which is really not a good news, but again, for people to be able to live in the sort of house that they want to live in and be able to afford it, they have to move away from the environment that they used to stay because of this example that you've given, and move further, further away
to a place,
that they can afford and be at peace.
Or like my friend whose child is starting kindergarten in September. Kindergarten. And the fees is 1.8 million naira.
I mean, the examples you're giving they're valid, but I also want to share with you 2 examples.
No, because that guy's option now is either the child doesn't go to kindergarten or go and look for some funny place somewhere. Do you understand? You're going to stretch yourself.
Now that's someone. There's another person that did not pay school fees, but cannot avoid going on vacation.
I beg your pardon?
Yes.
Won't pay his children's school fees.
They haven't paid school fees.
Would rather use the money and go on vacation. Wow. Okay.
Now there's somebody that bought a 2026 Lexus 600 LX. And I thought for the first time that the person asked me for 10K. I thought it was one of those things.
Yes.
I'm a boy.
Yes.
I'm broke. But it's now becoming consistent. I'm wondering,
Yes.
shouldn't that also be an example?
Clearly, this is financial irresponsibility or rascality, if you like.
Yeah.
That's what that points to. Which is why I wanted to stick with basics, really. Basics. What? Because when you look at basics, then it starts to eat away somewhat at what you, because you can cut out every luxury. You can cut out every single luxury.
Yeah.
And find that even having done that, from income, and you're still struggling.
Yeah, I mean
that's the sort of climate. But yes, what we're examining is the reasons why you're broke. Let's look at how to correct this. What can we do?
So we'll start by looking at savings techniques. So look at the guy that lives paycheck to paycheck, has been struggling to keep a certain percentage of it. I think the first thing that will help those sort of people is to pay yourself first. I gave an example earlier that some people are Christians, they stay faithful to
Raphael,
faith.
should these people go for some sort of therapy? No, why I say this? Because these things are easier said than done, right? Over some time, it becomes a habit. Some of these things are a habit.
Yeah.
Breaking habits can be very, very difficult.
Especially
even biting your
habits.
fingernails. Exactly.
Especially the bad habits.
And if that money is within reach, I know people made the decision once. It's even happened to me. You've made a decision every month. I must set this aside. I must want it. And you make these lofty plans. If the new year comes, you make the resolution. And then you find yourself going there to wherever it is you put it. Do you understand? So maybe mechanics that make it out of reach. I remember one
automation
piggy bank thing that they was created once. You are able to put money in it, but you're not able to take the money out, to break it easily. Things like that could help. So that once it's gone in there, it's kind of beyond your reach, or it's stuck for a term period sort of thing.
That's why if you also automate your cash flow, so that before you even see the money settle in your bank account, a certain percentage is gone into your investment pool.
Okay.
So whatever is left is then what you spend.
Oh, there are products like that.
Yes. And it's also important that you save and spend what is left. Don't save what is left. A lot of us make that mistake as well. Once the cash flow comes, you say, families will always be there. They're not going to go away.
Yes.
So that discipline.
And there's always going to be demands.
Oh yeah.
Incessant demands.
Oh yeah. And that takes me to another tool that can help, which is the budgeting tool we've always spoken about, on the show. That helps you as well to give your money direction. Because there will always be demand, like you mentioned.
Yes.
And you need to have a budget for those demands, so that once you exhaust that budget, then you know that it's done for that period.
Yes.
When the next cash flow comes in, then you can begin to, look for how you want to then support that demand, in another way. But budgeting tool is also very important. You need to ensure that you make use of a budgeting tool to be able to give your money direction. Because if you don't tell money where to go, it's just going to go anywhere it says. And at the end of the day, at the end of the month, there will be some 10,000, some 20,000 that you won't be able to account for.
Tell your money where to go.
Exactly.
No, for real, that is major.
Yeah.
If you don't tell money where to go, it will go
anywhere.
anywhere.
It will go anywhere.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, you'll see
so
that there's
true.
some 20,000 naira you can't account for.
Yes.
You don't know where it's gone.
Yeah.
5,000 naira, you don't know how you spent it, but it's gone. So that's the budgeting tool is very, very important. I think the other thing as well is you need to set up an emergency fund. So before you even define your clarity of goals, because one of the mistakes that that we also make is that we don't have clarity on goals. I can tell you 1 minute that, Chico, I want to set aside these funds for, maybe I want to set aside this fund to, let me see, what is it that I need to do?
Yes.
And then because I hear Chico say he wants to do B, then immediately I'm switching to
pivot.
B. Because Chico wants to do B and I'm not doing A anymore. So that clarity of purpose, the clarity of your goals is also important. And then before you begin to plan for those goals, you need to set up your emergency fund. Because if you don't also have an emergency fund, an emergency occurs, then you begin to break other plans that you have. You can even sell assets at a loss.
Yeah.
Because you need to sort out that emergency. And that's because you don't have an emergency fund. So if you look at some of our videos, I can't remember which episode now, but if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find a video there where we talked extensively about how to set up an emergency fund. You'll find videos there as well how we talked extensively about how to apply a budgeting tool, to your cash flow.
Yeah.
So that would help you as well, to come up to speed on our discussions today.
Okay. Now, how do you start looking for some of the products you've mentioned? I want us to end here. Some of the products you've mentioned, for someone who's wants to make up their mind now, look for these products. Where should we start?
You can start with a money market fund. Start with a money market fund. Just begin to set things aside.
Yeah.
When you build a substantial amount and you're clear, on what you then want to do as your next step, then you can begin to talk to your wealth advisor, on what you can then do, and then get a proper counsel, on the next steps to take. In setting up your emergency fund as well, I always advise that you use a money market fund, because it meets all the characteristics of setting up an emergency fund, so that, again, is something that is important, that we need to take note of.
Thank you very much, Rafa. This has been Wealth Management and You, where our discussion has been, this is why you're broke. Now on the show today, we defined, or Rafa broke down what it means to be broke. And if you found yourself in there, we then looked at some of the reasons why that's happening and how those things can be corrected. Remember, it's Wealth Management and You. We're hoping you found it useful and that you won't just listen, but you'll take the step to start to correct these things. Yes, we are in a hostile environment, but if you apply these principles that Rafa has shared today, it will definitely make your circumstance and situation a lot better than it might have been if you do nothing. Or continue to do what you've been doing that we have identified as the reason why you're broke.
That's correct.
Wealth Management and You comes your way on Mondays at 5:30. So make it a date and join us next Monday for another edition of the show. Rafa, final word?
If you've missed this episode or any of the previous episodes, please check the videos on our YouTube page, Wealth Management and You, and do well to subscribe so that you can get prompts of new videos every week. Have a good evening, Lagos.